Hari Om. We have come to now this 5th chapter, completed 4 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So we will just look behind first, and then we will go forward. Bhagavad Gita gives us the vision to look at ourselves and this world. Bhagavad Gita is the very essence of our culture. It shows us that vision, which is a vision of oneness. So this is a grand vision, which is the state of realization of great masters, that essentially all of us are one. Outwardly, we appear to be different with respect to our body, with respect to our mind, our intellect, there is difference. But with respect to the essence, there is oneness. And the whole, purpose of our life is to ultimately realize this essence. Whether we like it or not, all of us are moving towards this state of realization alone. It's like evolution. Just as we have physical evolution, physically we have evolved to become a human being, similarly we will evolve to ultimately come to realize our own essence. It's a journey in self-discovery. All of us are striving to know ourselves. But before we know ourselves, we have our own understanding about ourselves. And based on this understanding, we respond to the world. If our understanding is limited, if our understanding is negative, then our response will also be negative. And what we get, experiences also will be negative. So the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge which is revealed here, is to reveal to Arjuna his essential nature, and through Arjuna to all of us. Therefore the Gita we have seen begins with the word dharma and concludes with the word mama, mama dharma, my nature. So we have our hero Arjuna, who was disturbed when he reached the battlefield, seeing his own people there, and he did not know what to do. So he surrenders to Bhagavan Shri Krishna, who was his charioteer, and requests him that please guide me, please teach me what is the right course of action, what is dharma, what is the right thing to do. So Bhagavan understood his situation, and from the 2nd chapter onwards he started the teaching by first revealing to Arjuna his essential nature. That in essence you are that supreme self, Atma or Param Atma, which is neither born nor does it die. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit, nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha, ajo nityashashvatoyam puranaha, na hanyate hanyamanes sharire. Even when the body gets destroyed, I, the pure self, is not destroyed. It is neither born nor does it die. It always is. Changes happen at the level of the body, at the level of the mind. And when we are identified with it, we experience the pain and the pleasure. So Bhagavan started from the peak. Bhagavan started from Mount Everest. That is the goal which you have to realize. Not knowing yourself has created all this confusion in your mind. But how to reach that goal? To reach that goal, we have to follow certain disciplines, certain practices, And these practices are termed by that single word, yoga. So when we mean yoga, it's a spiritual practice which will take us to our destination. And the first step, Bhagavan told Arjuna, is to begin with Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga is the vehicle which will take us in stages to the ultimate destination. If we are well established in Karma Yoga, we will reach our destination. And what is Karma Yoga? It has got few important points which we have to remember. Karma Yoga is performing our duties or fulfilling our responsibilities as an individual towards ourselves and toward the world around us with the attitude of worship, without having any attachment, without disturbing the mind, just fulfilling our responsibilities, and whatever comes as a result, take it as a prasad, as a gift from God. So when one lives in this way, slowly and steadily, the mind starts becoming more and more tuned to the reality. Person then can take the next step of gaining the right knowledge and getting established in one's own true self. Thereafter, that person can live in this world as an enlightened being, awakened being, like Gautam Buddha can be a Buddha, awakened being one can live. We understand the importance of knowledge which we gain in the schools and colleges, but this is much more than ordinary knowledge. This is the knowledge of our essential nature itself. And it is not a theoretical knowledge, it is the knowledge which one gains when one reaches the state of meditation. One comes to recognize oneself by oneself. Such a person who has recognized himself or herself, the very essence, is called by many names, but in the second chapter is called Astita Pradnya, one whose understanding is established in his own self. So Bhagavan told this everything very systematically to Arjuna. He also described the characteristic of Astita Pradnya, and then he felt that now Arjuna must have understood everything, and he will start his performing his duties as a Kshatriya to fight this righteous war. But after listening to this second chapter, Arjuna got some doubt. He asked in the third chapter that if knowledge is supreme, ultimately we have to know ourselves, then what is the purpose of action? Why act? Why not directly strive to gain this knowledge? Why perform action at all? Why you only have said that knowledge is supreme, so why act? So with this question, the third chapter begins. And Bhagavan in the third chapter elaborately explains to Arjuna the importance of action. So that third chapter is called Karma Yoga. Bhagavan says that we cannot live even for a second without performing action. Means the body, the mind, constantly act. One cannot live without action. Just by preventing the action from happening, or just by taking sannyas or renouncing action, one cannot reach the supreme goal. We have to follow the path of Karma Yoga. Through Karma Yoga alone, one can make the mind more and more pure and more conducive to the final realization. So Bhagavan doesn't advocate renunciation of action in the beginning. You drop everything and just sit quietly and meditate. He says, no, you follow the path of Karma Yoga. And very beautifully Bhagavan explained everything to Arjuna in the 3rd chapter. And then he began the 4th chapter by explaining the parampara. He said the same knowledge I had given to the Lord's Son also in the beginning. So Arjuna was quite surprised. He said, how come you were born now? Lord's Son was born before. So Bhagavan revealed his identity as Ishvara. He says, I and you have taken many births, but you don't remember. I remember them all. Ishvara is that same supreme reality who is the self of all, who is the master of all, who is the controller of all. Like if we take the example of that ocean and waves, individuals are like waves and Ishvara is like ocean. Ocean is much vaster than a single wave. But essentially, they are one and same. So Bhagavan revealed his identity, and he also mentioned in the 4th chapter some more sadhanas which will help us to further purify our mind. Like pranayam, like having some control over our food, like tapas, like control of the senses, few more yajna, dana. So few more sadhanas Bhagavan mentioned. And he said all these sadhanas we have to perform as worship of Ishvara. So a wave worshipping the ocean. So similarly I perform this sadhana as a worship of that Ishvara, who is the totality. This will help me to make my mind more and more calm and peaceful and harmonious. My actions will become more efficient. My relationship with this world will become more conducive. There will be all-round prosperity outside. Inner growth, spiritual evolution will happen. And when my mind will become pure, I will develop jidnyasa, a thirst to know myself. This is a natural outcome of a pure mind. When my mind is not disturbed by day-to-day happenings, when the mind is more calm and peaceful, when the mind is free from intense likes and dislikes, the mind develops that jidnyasa, thirst to know its own essence. A question comes to my mind that who am I? What is my essential nature? What is the nature of this world? What is the nature of God? A thirst for knowledge of the essence comes in our mind. It's a natural. So Bhagavan says when this thirst arrives in your mind, then you approach a teacher. Tad viddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. You approach a teacher, ask all these questions to the teacher, learn from the teacher, and gain this knowledge. And once you gain this knowledge, you will become free from the intense sense of doership which you have in your action. Then you can become free of many of these actions and focus your attention on experiencing what you have understood, experiencing the knowledge what you have